Okay. Hey, jackasses, you here with Tony?
Mike.
All right. Here we're talking about. What are we talking about today? What did you want to bring up there? Old wise one.
When the protesters stormed the Capitol last week.
All right. So you wanna go ahead and read the captions there, buddy?
Now, the captions are about to read comments made by Democratic politicians when the riots were going on in Portland. First, we have Kamala Harris, which is now the vice president. Said the protesters should not let up. There's that lady from Massachusetts, the African American lady, a politician. I don't know what her name is. It's Amanda or something with an A. There needs to be an arrest in the streets. Nancy Pelosi, that she says, I just don't know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be. And then probably the most famous one is Maxine Waters. This is, I think it was right around, right
His
before
first impeachment.
his first impeachment. Basically, you see any Republican politician, anywhere in public, you should get in their face, yell at them, and not back up. So it sounds like these politicians, especially Kamala, the lady from Massachusetts, all of them, but they're condoning the violence. In other words, when these protesters were going on in 8 months in Portland, where some people got killed, a lot of people got assaulted, some people got run over, cops are getting Molotov cocktails thrown at them, police stations, police cruisers lit on fire, cops are getting bottles and rocks and bricks thrown at them. It took Joe Biden 7 months to say it needs to stop, but Trump was there right away. And all these protests by these comments in when this stuff was going on seemed like they were condoning the violence. So what Trump said before they stormed the Capitol on Wednesday in his speech was, what the quotes they're referring to, go ahead, go forward, you proud patriots. Today you're going to protest, exercise the civil rights, and march over the Capitol, protest peacefully. God bless you, Godspeed, stuff like that. That's what he said. So they're saying that incited a riot, which they were rioting because they're just angry, but not because he incited it. So these politicians, after these comments, when all these things are going on in Portland, they don't have a right to talk about anybody. So here's the bottom line. The Democratic politicians are all right when people in Portland were getting killed, getting assaulted, their businesses burnt down, cops are getting assaulted and all that. They didn't say anything about it.
Why don't you read what he said that day on Capitol Hill when he gave his speech?
No, the quote that Trump's...
I'll tell you what, I'll read it.
Go ahead.
These are things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever. Doesn't sound like he's endorsing violence on Capitol Hill.
I don't know. You can't. If someone supports you, if you're a celebrity or you're a politician, if they support you, and then they decide they're going to do something bad, and say it's because they support you, they can't blame you. You didn't tell them to do it. You didn't do it.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and see his words? This is from the Washington Post.
Over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
It's been a pretty...
It could just be me.
No, it's not just you.
But that seems as if he didn't say, hey, when you get to the Capitol building, break in, storm it, take, pictures everywhere, assault police, kill one. Some police officer was beat to death. I forget his name, but he was dragged into the crowd and beaten to death. There was another officer who was beaten but survived. I don't know necessarily if I feel bad for the people who stormed the Capitol and died, because again, I don't condone it. All right, the same way I don't condone, we'll bring the photo back up. Let's just see. Okay, here. So we're gonna go up. All these photos, right? They've been cropped out of other photos and put into these with their quotations. But all the photos with the fire in the background are from the George Floyd, I put it in quotations, protests. That's billions of dollars in real estate being burned down, businesses, homes, you name it. Essentially what went on was
livelihoods destroyed.
Idiots in the streets upset about something that has nothing to do with them. It had to do with George Floyd and his family, who think they've been racially oppressed, who get fed this stuff by the media, and went out and burned everything down. We covered it pretty extensively.
You got to admit the cops' actions out there were really bad.
I don't give a shit what the cops do, because at the end of the day, what pisses me off is no one says, well, we should step in and fund their training like we do for the military, so that cops get trained by the academy, but then all of the extra training, communication, tactical skills, being able to read situations, they have to pay for out of pocket. When the only time they actually make any money is if they reach their pension, and they have to retire for that to happen. So during their career, where they're living check to check and working extreme hours, they're not getting the funding required to go and get the training that would allow them not to mess up in these situations. So I'm just saying, if you want to say that the cops are the making harsh decisions, yeah, well, there's a reason for that.
All right, okay.
That's all I'm saying.
But the cops' actions were inexcusable that day.
I'm not. Oh yeah, yeah.
All right. That's what I'm saying.
No, I think it's 100% true.
And obviously, the training is seriously, and there's a lot of issues about. But I don't want to talk about that. But there's a lot of issues.
But do you think there's a difference between what happened to George Floyd and a police shooting? Obviously, one person gets shot. Something happened where they got shot. And the other case is the guy had hypertension, underlying conditions, and then you put a knee on his frickin' neck, and you what's the word for it? You amplify what condition he already had,
right,
and leads to his death.
Okay, now I'm going to say this.
Do you think there's a difference in how it should be handled? Obviously, but
I think I need to look. Every situation is different. You need to investigate every situation. Somebody, an independent entity, not from outside the police department, needs to investigate. Police departments should not be investigating themselves.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, I think that's true. I think that what's on screen should be had. So this is Demolition Man. Sandra Bullock here on the right. This is Sylvester Stallone, and this is the guy from Law and Order.
I know he is. I know.
And this is the glow rod, where in this version of the future right now, they have this rod where whatever its technology is, it essentially makes your brain go to sleep. It's like having a tranquilizer, except it just triggers a natural sleep cycle.
Right.
So I had the thought, and I said this before, this is what they should be implementing. If they want to put their funding into something to prevent shootings and stabbings and all this stuff where they have to deal with the person directly, imagine if you had a device that if they started acting up, you just touch them in the side of the head and they pass the fuck out. And you can just pick them up and drag them where you need them to.
Yeah, but you gotta be able to get close enough to, okay.
Well, in the case of George Floyd, he was resisting arrest, which is why they applied the pressure they did. I still say, why not just put ankle cuffs on the fucking guy?
Yeah, but
and put him in the back of the truck.
But I don't understand is they said that he was inside the police cruiser handcuffed. Mm-hmm. Then he made it back outside. I don't know. I forget exactly.
I forget what the video showed is that he was resisting arrest, but I don't remember if he was already in the. I'm pretty confident they said that, and we'll cover this back. That he was in one car, they were arresting him, but then another officer showed up for some bullshit, and they decided to take him out of that car and go to put him in the other one. And then when they were going to put him in the other vehicle, he resisted arrest, and that's when he got put in the ground with a knee in his neck.
All right.
So there's that. But again, I think that this little invention here that hasn't come yet, they should be investing in that, because it would be useful for cops. But imagine you're in a war zone, you catch a terrorist, and you're 5 feet away from him, and you can close the gap in the distance, and you pull this thing out, you can make him go to sleep, and then bring him for interrogation. Versus like, oh well, if I don't get to him and get him whatever, he could blow me up, shoot me, or some shit. It has a lot of implications. That's all I'm saying. So, again, that's you heard from the horse's mouth what Trump had to say, right? You've seen his quotation. So here's one of the people, Rep. Boebert. Am I saying that right? Boebert? You go ahead and listen to what she has to say. The day of, when they were doing the vote as to whether or not he was going to win, or it might have been the impeachment. Oh, the impeachment. Never mind. Okay.
I don't want to.
Today to oppose this impeachment and denounce the recent violence on the Capitol, just as I oppose the previous impeachment and the violence we've all witnessed all summer long across our great country. Make no mistake here, the hypocrisy of the left is on full display. Quote, go to the Hill, get in the face of some Congress people. We've got to fight in Congress, fight in the courts, fight in the streets. Get behind the gym and beat the hell out of them.
That was Joe Biden.
Go and take Trump out tonight. Sound familiar? What about the gentlewoman from New York who defended the looting?
AOC.
By saying looters just wanted loaves of bread. Well, the last I checked, Best Buy and Tesla
It's just,
stores of the like do not produce baked goods. Where's the accountability for the left after encouraging and normalizing violence? Rather than actually helping American people in this time, we start impeachments that further divide our country. I call bullcrap when I hear the Democrats demanding unity. Sadly, they are only unified in hate.
now, she's 100% correct. Now, I'm not saying that the other side doesn't do it too.
I'm listening to you.
Hey, what's his name there? Giuliani. You know, he's been saying inflammatory shit too, but my thing is, it's like, the mountains of evidence that they presented should at least have you going, I'm suspicious of the results of this election. Okay? If not, I outright believe that they cheated. Okay, fine. At least you should have some questions like, well, that doesn't make sense how the machines counted faster than it's possible for them to count these votes in like an hour's time. And that's the spike that gave him the push ahead. Like, that doesn't make sense. You know? Where the Dominion voting machines go to, all this other stuff. When you go down the rabbit hole, you're like, well, if there was enough suspicion in a court case of this kind of evidence, then the results could be somebody's going to get off. Like, you're not guilty because we found out that these other people over here on this side are full of shit. So we're using this to make sure that this doesn't happen again. You know what I mean? Well, what's your take on things, you? I know, but we're live, man. No phone. Come on. What do you think? And not just the election. I'm talking about like him getting impeached.
I think now, okay.
For the second time.
Now the election is over. And now, if you supported Trump, obviously you're disappointed he lost. If you supported Biden, you're obviously happy that he won.
Right.
It's time for us to come together as a country. We have more in common with one another than we do apart. And stop all this fighting. Fighting is not going to get anybody anywhere. Lighting fires and all this. You might have one opinion, I might have another. We can meet somewhere in the middle, where maybe you don't get everything you want, and I don't get everything. You get a little bit. You get a little of what you want. Maybe you get a little of what I want. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. All this fighting and the lighting fire and all this craziness has got to stop.
He was banned off of every social media platform.
Oh, that's the other thing.
I personally,
the leader of Iran.
Let me finish something here.
The leader of Iran, a terrorist type man.
We could talk about all day about how inflammatory he is, the things he says, and you don't agree with him, fine. His personality is that of an asshole, or whatever you think. Why on God's green earth are we banning this man from all forms of social media? Because to say that he's been inciting violence, again, let's bring the photo back up, because apparently it's not enough.
How do you spell schedule? Is it S-C-H?
Yeah, it's S-C-H-E-D-U-L-E. If you want to look here, take a look. I mean, we could put Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's quotes up here from her couple years.
I gotta go to bed because I gotta go in it too.
All right, she's been in office now for a couple years. You could put all of her quotes up here and be just as stupid. But when you see this stuff and you ask yourself, when they were saying this publicly, there wasn't like Twitter and whatever platforms they're on as politicians going, hey, maybe we should suspend their accounts for a bit because they're inciting some really dumb shit.
What are you talking about?
Like when you come out and you're the Massachusetts congresswoman and you say there needs to be unrest in the streets. Time out? No. Hey, we're banning your Twitter account.
Yes.
Why? Because you just incited a fucking riot, honey. Okay, not in the streets of your city, maybe, but in other cities in the country, you're gonna essentially allow people to burn buildings, loot, and do all this other shit because they're upset. You know, when I get angry about something that is on the news, I don't just get a pass to go to Best Buy and be like, I need a DSLR camera. Let me just pick it off. Let me just smash this under here and grab it. Because I need my reparations for the anger that I feel built up as a white male in this country. That doesn't happen for me. To say that there's a pass for people who are black and brown to do that because they've been oppressed is total fucking bullshit. Plenty of white people are living like in horrible conditions in this country and have shit over their heads and whatnot. You don't see them going to just fucking riot and loot because they shot Jimmy on the TV. Go ahead.
I'm not really top on it. I gotta go to bed.
You just let's close it out then.
I think the whole thing. Not only did Trump not decide to ride, but the guy's going to be gone in
less than 2 weeks.
5 days. He's got 5 days left in office.
Yeah.
And he's done. All right, and so many people want to. I think a Biden presidency, the Biden-Harris presidency, I think is going to be a fucking nightmare. All right, but they got in. Let's give them a shot and see what they do. But the Trump's gone in 5 days. They need to leave him alone. They should be worried about getting small businesses back up and running across the country, getting the vaccine out as soon as possible, getting people the other $1,400 stimulus check. And you know what I mean, and making sure there's peace in the world. These are the things a lot more important they should be focused on. Leave Trump alone, or do you hate him? Yeah, okay, whatever. 5 days he's gone. He ain't gonna be there anymore.
All right.
So it's got 5 days left. Let it go. He's gonna be gone in 5 days, and it's over.
Right.
That's all I get to say.
Let me close out here. I think it's going to be business as usual because you had Obama for 8 years who just told Wall Street, hey guys, come and be part of my cabinet. Everything's going to run smoothly, whatever, and Biden's doing the same thing. The media is talking about if he's hiring people at positions who are black, and it's like you guys missed the point again because you had the same thing when Trump got in office. Who is he hiring and what positions? What color are they? I want to know if you can do the job and you can handle the responsibilities of it. I don't give a fuck if you're blacker than midnight or whiter than a piece of paper, okay? I want you to do the job efficiently. That's what I put you in the position for. I don't give a fuck what you look like. But, the inconsistency is probably going to continue because I think it's going to be business as usual. System's just going to run like it has been.
I have a question. If you would have if you got in the plane as you were walking on the plane, said the stewardess, hey, we got a new pilot started today.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get the highest. He wasn't the best student in class.
Oh my God.
But they basically hired him because he's a minority. Would you get off the plane? I would. You need to be hired because you're qualified for the job. That needs to be the first. And can you do the job?
Oh yeah.
And then everything else is secondary.
Well, it's like the same thing when Bush's administration. You had people in the government who were hearing, there was these guys, they're the Arabic dudes, and I was teaching them flying lessons, and they never learned how to land.
They weren't worried.
They weren't very concerned in government. So it's like you can have those kind of people in jobs, or you can have the people who actually know what they're doing. But this has been the Loud Jackass Podcast with Tony,
Mike,
and we'll see you sons of bitches in the next one. Peace out.
All right, do me a favor, and you leave it in the living room when you shut off the lights. I'm going to sleep out.